Okie dokie. So welcome everybody to the winners bracket finals. As I said a moment ago, it's going to be Sunshine versus Energy Dime in a Zerga versus Protoss. It's again Cloud Kingdom, very very popular map today, and just kind of in general, everybody thinks that this map is one of the most balanced and really entertaining ones out there.
Yeah, I definitely like it. It was, well, what it came from the Team Liquid map making contest. Is that where it was
Yes,
discovered?
indeed.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yep.
we do see here at the top right, Energy Dime spawning as the green Protoss player.
And the opponent sticking to the kind of brightness that we have all come to expect from him. It is Sunshine as the yellow Zerg.
Indeed, sticking with that yellow color of the sun, as we learned in grade school. Whenever you want to color the sun, just take a yellow and orange crayon, just kind of put them together and just draw a big
Swirl it
circle.
around a whole bunch, yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how this one does play out. We did have another. Did we have a PVZ on this map earlier?
We did have a PVZ on this map, and ultimately it was just not... The harassment was so effective. There's no way for the Zerg to hold out. So many Zealots being warped in, simultaneously denying the... the crowning moment of that game was when he simultaneously denied the fourth, the third, and then made the infestors waste all their energy just trying to deal with the harassment as he was maxing out.
Indeed. Alright, so we'll see if our Protoss player does kind of go for that type of play again, or if it'll just be a little bit different. If perhaps Sunshine will actually know how to deal with it instead of just making a bunch of drones and hoping that the units go away.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel, Paul? But oh, nice little subtle thing right there. I really like a lot. Sunshine is having a little bit of harassment done to one of his drones, and so as he saw it getting low, it was down to like 15 hit points. He just chose it to make the spawning pool, so he doesn't need to worry about losing it. And he already knows that there's going to be a block going down as this probe is currently wandering around in his natural, keeping an eye on it with the Overlord. And so he knows he wants the pool. He knows he doesn't want to end up losing that drone. May as well use it that way.
Indeed, and the drone is coming down here to attack this probe as it is not really being micro the way it should be. There we go. Oh, manages to get out of the circle where the hatchery is typically built, and Sunshine takes quick advantage of that, so really good reaction there by Sunshine getting his hatchery down, and the probe is no longer going to be able to really harass as effectively.
And now, a kind of interesting thing is that I'm worried that Dime might have overplayed his hand just a little bit there. There are currently 4 Zerglings on the way, and if they're just marched directly out across the map, they might get here before the cannon is done. From the second you start the forge, it's 85 seconds before the first cannon is finished, assuming you did everything perfectly. And so it looks like he is rushing to try to make sure that he gets that cannon down, and oh, as the Zerglings are currently turned away, he will definitely be able to have that up in time. For a moment, I thought they might just be rallied right across, and they could probably have slipped through the hole or even killed off the one probe acting as a guardian.
Indeed, indeed. You do see these Zerglings, though, chasing down this probe, going to keep him from doing too much more scouting, and might be able to kill him if they can get up ahead of him. Instead, they're just kind of targeted on the probe instead of in front of him, and the pilot or the probe might be able to make it back to his main base with the cannon to defend. We'll see. It's kind of just like an epic chase. The pilot or the probe is scared for his life right now. Will he make it home? He does indeed.
Yeah, knowing that that wall is already complete because of the nifty little Overlord hanging out over that high ground, Sunshine does decide to pull back. He also already has his third base up and running. The most standard of standard reactions to when you see a Protoss going for a Forge Fast Expand. Both gas geysers are up and running in Dime's base, so really just kind of like perfectly standard play coming out of both these guys right now. Warp Gate Research... there we go. Warp Gate Research starting up and just waiting to see when do they kind of make that first decision that will determine the rest of the game.
Indeed, now the Zealot is coming out here for Energy Dime. Gonna try to find some Zerglings and take them out. He will see. Does he actually know? Yeah, he does know already that the third base is being produced. Or actually, no, sorry. It's on the wrong one. Yeah, he doesn't know that the third base is being produced, and by the time he gets up there with the Zealot, he will see that it is pretty much finished and can go ahead and make his decision. Will he go for a 2-base play, or will he decide to expand as well and try to keep up in the economy with his opponent?
Now, there was a bit of ring around the rosy right there, which was really good from Dime for a moment, and unfortunately he did end up losing the probe. However, he has significantly weakened a number of Zerglings, and in fact, for 6 more. And you can literally think of every pair of Zerglings that's killed as a dead drone, because it means that there weren't drones produced right now, they weren't being used to do any mining whatsoever, and if he's forcing a ton of army to be made out of Sunshine right now, it's exactly what he wants, and you can see it in the current worker supply, as it's 36 drones against 33 probes, when already the Zerg would want to be at like 40 or 45.
Yeah, Energy Dime is really impressive with his kind of aggressive style of, well, early aggression in his PvZ games, especially against Zerg players who go for that quick third base. He's continuing to do even more damage against these Zerglings, and Sunshine is just trying to mac her up. He is getting a Spine Crawler though, there at his third base, I do believe. That will certainly help to deal with these Stalkers once it gets completed. And of course the Queen is there. Will he be able to get the Queen in time? No, he is forced to retreat, and Sunshine should be good for now.
That is just such a huge win from Dime, though, forcing that Spine Crawler that Sunshine obviously didn't want to make. And taking a look at it right now, there's only 43 drones against 42 probes. Wow. And it's an incredibly good position for Dime right now, as he currently has his 3rd gas geyser up and running. There is an Overlord Scout marching right in it. He's going to see there are 3 more gateways being added on, the robotics facility already done. And so I'm really curious, are more gateways going to be added on, or is this a very, very fast Immortal timing?
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
No, in fact, 3rd base.
Oh, wow, the 3rd base does go down. Now, the 1 attack upgrade is almost finished for our Protoss player, so he might even be able to combo that expansion with a little more aggression. We do see a lot of Zerglings out here for our Zerg player, and I guess they're just kind of posturing around trying to figure out what's out there, see if they can maybe pick off a probe like they did right there, and just pretty much see if the Protoss player is up to any kind of crazy shenanigans.
Yeah, and that's always a good thing to do. If you catch that probe, you can feel very safe that, you know what, that was probably on its way to build little sneaky hidden pylons, so if I killed it right there, they're probably not there. Sunshine is checking around anyway, though. Just wants to be certain he doesn't need to worry about any kind of side attacks coming into this little corridor. But really, this is giving Dime quite a bit of time to get this base up and running. Currently has 2 cannons being constructed to defend it, along with 2 gateways that will just wall it off. Really, the only way around is right through the mineral line, a horrible little choke that Zerg wants absolutely nothing to do with. And just taking a very quick look at his vision, right now, Sunshine has no idea that this is there.
Wow, he does not even know that his opponent has a 3rd with Overlords and quick Zerglings and everything. All he really needs to do is send 1 Zergling around over to where the 3rd is to see that it's there. He has not done that. A little bit of a misstep. Actually kind of surprising compared to how good he's been doing throughout the whole rest of the game. But we do see a bunch of Zerglings coming up here towards where that 3rd base is. Oh my god, that's a ton of Zerglings and a ton of Roaches. And will he be surprised that the 3rd is there, or do you think that he knows that it's there?
I think he's definitely moving into place to deny it if it is. He can't really do anything else with the units, and so why not use them for something? It is very well timed to mesh up with Glial Reconstitution, though, so if this attack doesn't go his way, he can always decide to pull back. But right now, he really does need to be careful, because there's 2 Immortals currently on the field, and this is just a nasty place to attempt to engage.
Yeah, Sunshine there almost got completely cut off with those force fields. Very, very difficult place for a Zerg player to attack into. He is targeting down 1 gateway. Oh!
Big attempt at a circling run by, but just barely in time. Dime was able to warp in those Zealots. However, 1 Zealot is about to fall. Is the 2nd one in position? Yes, it is! For a second, I thought a Zergling could slip by, but no. And wow, all the Zerglings are being cleaned up as all the Roaches are falling as well. Dealing with this double part aggression brilliantly, and currently almost in a worker lead. 65 against 68.
I am so surprised that Sunshine decided to commit to that attack right there. I do realize that he had to do something with those units, otherwise he would have just been behind and it was kind of a big waste. But I mean, let's look at the units lost tab. Zerg has lost 2,850 resources worth of units. His Protoss opponent has only lost 1,000. That's almost a third of what the Zerg player has lost. So we do see Sunshine macroing up even more, getting a Colossus already, and another one on the way, as well as Thermal Lance, Blink, taking up very brilliantly. And do you think he'll stick with the 3 bases and just macro up, or do you think he'll go ahead and get his 4th soon?
I think it's going to depend on what we see these infestors and kind of like massing army used for. Right now, there's a ton of Zerglings currently on the field, but their usefulness is kind of limited
Right.
depending on how long the game goes on for. They're not great against Colossus, but they're outright bad against Storm. If once
Yeah.
Storm is on the field, Zerglings are very, very hard to use cost efficiently. And so I think that if Dime ever gets attacked and senses that he has a really good time to go and kill his opponent, he will try to. However, I suspect he'll probably try to go for the fourth base if he doesn't end up dealing with any aggression.
Alrighty. So we'll
And then he
see.
moves out right as I say that. So you
Well, you know, Day 9 always says to expand behind an attack, so perhaps he'll also expand at the same time. Or maybe he'll just completely commit wholeheartedly to this attack towards the fourth base of the Zerg player. That is where the Protoss is headed. He is ready for some action. There are a ton of infestors, though, and will they get some good fungals? These Zerglings coming up here to surround and go for this Colossus. One Colossus does go down. The other one is almost dead, and will it make it? Oh, it goes down, and now Zerglings are coming up here to clean up the rest of the army with a really excellent surround. Spectacular micro there from our Zerg player.
Yeah, that was really just a total positioning, like victory play coming out of Sunshine right there. All of the forces of Dime had been forced through this little narrow choke and were marching down in a line because they're all different speeds, as obviously Stalkers move just a little bit faster, Immortals, Sentries, things like that move a little bit slower. And so when they actually were engaged by all the Zerglings could hit almost every unit at once. And then as the fungals were overlaid on top of that, the damage was incredible, and Dime took a convincing win.
Now, interestingly enough, we do see Energy Dime going for a Stargate. So will he be going for some Phoenix play? He's definitely going to need some Phoenix or some kind of anti-air units to deal with the Broodlords that are on their way for Sunshine. And do you think that he'll go for a Mothership?
Yeah, I think that the Fleet Bacon is the only thing that's going to save his bacon anytime soon. It's currently, right now, we see that this fourth base is up and running, fifth base is under construction from Sunshine, so he will have all of the gas he could ever want or need, and because the Greater Spire is already finished up, Broodlords are on the way, there's kind of a limited number of options you have as Protoss after that point. You need a Mothership and a Vortex of some kind in order to hope to go toe-to-toe with that force.
Yeah, so we do see our Zerg player, like you're saying, taking his fifth base, while the Protoss is just continuing to be stuck on three bases. Really wish he had gone for that fourth base during the attack. Honestly, he really should have scouted out the grounds ahead of him before he committed to go for that fourth, because of course the Zerg is going to have their army somewhere close to there, and he just, you know, with those infestors like that, really got caught out of position. We do see currently 4 Broodlords as well as 3 more being morphed in, so that brings him up to a total of 7 Broodlords, and this is all that the Protoss army has. Wow, he only has like a couple Colossi, some Zealots, and like 2 Stalkers, or 5 Stalkers actually. Doesn't seem like that many. Not going to be enough to deal with the Zerg's army.
Oh.
Oh, did I miss something? It appears that Senix perhaps got disconnected. Not sure where he is yet. Looks like he's having some internet connection problems, so I'll continue to cast this until he can get back up. And yeah, like I was saying, the Protoss player just, I mean, look at his supply. He has 134 supply right now. Sunshine has 194. This is not the kind of position you want to be in as a Protoss player. And as you can hear, there is the Skype issues while we wait for Senix to get placed back into the call. I'll go ahead and hang that up and try calling him back. But yeah, anyways, like I was saying, the Protoss player is just kind of sticking around here in the middle of the map, whereas our Zerg player is moving around, seeing what's up everywhere. It does manage to get a couple of High Templar before those storms do go off, and only a handful of Zerglings died right there. Sunshine is continuing to remain maxed out. Oh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Alrighty. I was just letting it... Oh,
Oops, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Skype proving the adage that you don't get more than you pay for, and Skype is free.
Yeah, did you see that sick snipe of those 2 High Templars with that group of Zerglings there?
I was trying to deal with
Okay.
the unfortunate issues, but I'm certain that you covered it much to the excitement and enthusiasm of everybody, and so Hopping back in, though, we can see that basically the Zerg Death Ball is ready to go, and the Mothership isn't even on the field yet. That's a pretty precarious spot to be, because it even needs a bit more time in order to get the energy for a Vortex. And when you currently have 8 Broodlords, 12 Infestors, 43 Zerglings, and 8 Corruptors just kind of ready to go, you don't have time to wait for that.
Right. Absolutely. So Protoss player is basically playing a game of time. Hopefully he'll have enough time, but as we can tell, the Zerg player is really in position to go for that 4th base, and he is just waiting for some more Broodlords to be morphed in here, and will certainly go for an attack. There are quite a few Proton Cannons there, so that will certainly help the Protoss player as he continues to max up towards 200 out of 200 supply. He's currently at 180 something right now, or 70 something. And
right now there is a bit of a engagement going on simultaneously with the Warp Prism that's currently transformed in the bottom of the map, like almost directly in the south. It's in warp mode, but it's really not able to do anything, as right now we can see that Dime is just so occupied trying to deal with this current force. Mothership does go down, never got enough energy, and just look at that entire army. It looks like the fall in Massachusetts, as you can see, nothing but reds and yellows and oranges.
oh my gosh.
Growth is completely taking down most of that health. However, there is a little bit of an awkward situation, which is that the army didn't actually die. He needed like 2 more fungal to finish that off, which means that Dime actually is okay in this situation, which is not quite what I was expecting when I saw that fight start.
No, he is okay. At the same time, we do see Dime warping in a lot of Zealots down here at the 3rd base, going to force the Zerg player to move back a bunch of Zerglings. Will these Zealots manage to take out that 3rd? We did see a inject there, or not an inject, but a transfusion there. Did not manage to save the 3rd base, and these Zerglings do clean up all of those Zealots and run away. But honestly, the damage done right there is only a bit of a delay to the economy, as the mineral count of our Zerg player is quite good here.
Yeah, really, it's just kind of delaying the gas by a little bit, but ultimately that 4th base isn't even all that far away.
But look at the main base. We see these Zealots going once again for some more damage. Going to go for the Greater Spire. If he can take that out, that would be super great. He does manage to get it, and now the Zerglings are up here to deal with these Zealots, so Broodlords are going to be delayed for just a little bit. The good thing is, though, that Sunshine is maxed out pretty much on his supply, so he has enough Broodlords, although I'm sure he wishes he had a few more. And he's going to have to rebuild that Greater Spire if he wants to get any more. But, big engagement here in the middle.
I love watching this harassment play coming out of Dime. At the same time, though, he does really need the ability to defend kind of his core holdings, and that's just not something he currently has. The mass infested Terran bomb starting to take out this Nexus, and in fact, this is the one that the Mothership is coming out of, which means that, oh no, it does end up spawning out, which it won't even, ultimately it dying while still being constructed is probably the best thing that could have happened, because even if it had actually come out, there's so many infested Terrans and so many Corruptors currently available, it wouldn't have lasted long anyway. We can already see that Dime was definitely going for the Archon Toilet style, but he just will not have the chance to. There's so much damage being dealt, and he just does not have the ability to remax anymore.
And Sunshine is attacking up into this impossible choke, showing us that it is actually quite possible to destroy a Protoss player, regardless of how many AoE units it does have. There's currently only 1 Colossus left with some Stalkers. That is not going to be enough. We do have some Archons, though, so they are going to be pretty nice in dealing with some of these units, but they're just not doing enough damage, and Energy Dime GG's out. Now that is a PVZ right there.
That is a PVZ, and it's only even game number 1.
Yeah.
So this is a best of 3 with Sunshine picking up the first game, which means Dime is going to get to pick the next map, and we'll be moving into that in just a moment.
Also, our producer wanted us to let you guys know that Pooh is going to be playing Sura in the lower bracket. Pooh was the one with all the Dark Templars, and then Sura was he the Zerg, or was he... He was the Zerg player, right, that played against Dime early in the tournament. I think.
Yeah.
I believe.
Zerg is, wait, Zerg or...
Exasura.
Yeah, and so those guys will be battling it out for who is going... In fact, they're going to be doing the lower bracket finals, which I believe we are going to be casting, because the winner of this and the winner of that lower bracket final are going to be the 2 who are going to the national finals.
Awesome.
And we'll have the chance at that $1,000.
Awesome sauce. All right. Okay, guys, so we're going to be moving into the next game between Sunshine and Energy Dime. If Energy Dime loses this one, that means Sunshine will advance into the grand finals for today. And of
Yes,
course,
indeed.
if Energy Dime wins, then there will be a third game. Alrighty.
All right. Both these guys saying they're ready to go. We are referees, and the countdown has begun. So, man, I really missed the part where all of the maps were removed from the map pool except for Ohana and TV and Cloud Kingdom. But I guess the players got the memo and I did not because all best of threes must be played on these.
Yes, indeed. So, spawning here. Spawning here at the bottom right is Energy Dime, the Protoss player, the previous loser, not an actual loser as a person, but loser as a player, against Sunshine, who is spawning at the top left.
Yeah, Sunshine currently as, once again, the yellow Zerg, and really showing that if you want to go for a macro game, he will happily do that as well. I don't know if you noticed it because of the little, or if you mentioned it because of little Skype troubles, but the mass spine crawler wall too was something I absolutely loved that he did. He had just staggering amounts of minerals, not really that much to do with them because he couldn't afford to put any of his supply into anything but not really gas-heavy units, and so he had something in the end like 25 or 30 spine crawlers just ready to go at his fourth.
Man, hearing Spine Crawlers just reminds me of that one game that we casted back in the FRB, where the only thing keeping, I can't remember if it was Saravati or, I know it was the game with Saravati in it. The only thing keeping him alive was a moving Spine Crawler kept with the rest of his army.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? And we could not figure out what was going on. We were like, oh my god, is the game bugged? And then everyone was like, you guys are idiots, it's the Spine Crawler. Like, that was just so awesome.
Yeah,
But,
little known fact, like Spinecrawler, even if it's uprooted, still counts as a building until everything else has been wiped out. You have a mobile army, and that one dude's crawling along like, what's up?
Yeah.
He will not be eliminated, so... Right now, Sunshine just popping down that spawning pool. He already sees that the probe is out here, so he can't go safely for the expand first style. And Dime, once again, this is pretty much the most friendly map to a Forge Fast Expand ever. You have a small ramp right in the front. Like, what more could you ever ask for as a Protoss?
Indeed, indeed. So, we do see Energy Dime once again blocking off that hatchery as best as he can. And, oh, Sunshine does manage to get it. You see, he's handling it so much better than our previous Zerg. Instead of going all the way and making a third base, or a base where the third should be, just goes ahead and waits a little bit and gets that hatchery down. Probes, they're not actually as strong as we may think they are.
I don't know. The Livestrong probe is taking a look around right now, and actually, this Overlord has kind of left the building, but already the Zerglings are on the way, so they should be able to chase this guy away relatively quickly. As we see right now, this actually, the Forge isn't even ready yet. Once again, like, really, Dime cuts this so close every time when he goes for this next first style. It's like, I mean, he can know whether or not the Zerglings are coming for him just by checking out what this what ends up happening to this probe.
Right.
But I really feel like if at any point Sunshine committed to, like, I'm just making like 6 Zerglings and running them into your base, they'd probably win.
Yeah, I guess he just figures his opponent's not going to do that, and like you're saying, the probe would pretty much see if it was going to happen or not. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure he could probably manage to get maybe a probe or two up there in the choke and block off some Zerglings before they came in. But yeah, we do see Sunshine going ahead and getting his third base already, kind of playing that macro Zerg style that you typically see in just about every game against Protoss players. And yeah.
I have to admit, I absolutely love how brave Overlords, even like brazen, I think would be the adjective I would use, because this Overlord's just kind of hanging out over the natural. He's totally unconcerned, knows that he has plenty of time to get away, and he definitely can. He can just kind of wander away into one of the dead zones, and the Stalker will not be able to get him. Assuming that Sunshine doesn't forget about it, but there we go. Like, the second he sees the Chrono Boost is coming down, Overlords with their new speed, man. They're kind of jerks.
Yeah, Speed Lords. It was actually quite funny. He was so close to that photon cannon. I could just see the cannon like wanting to shoot at him, but realizing that he needed to go back to marksman school before he could learn to be that, or learn to have that kind of a range.
Oh, and right now, though, it looks like this little bit of harassment that Dime has been doing is already being shut down. I like this reaction a lot out of Sunshine. He's seen that his opponent loves to do this, and it's really effective. In fact, it's even still going to be pretty effective just because of amazing positioning.
Wow.
Because right now, that Zealot getting 4 kills, I think actually a 5th before it ends up going down. The Stalker not done yet. But Sunshine was ready for it this time. He knew that the Stalker and Zealot were going to be going out across the map, and that, in fact, I believe another Stalker, yep, is currently going to be moving up as well. In fact, Proxy Pylon going down in addition. So, with this +1 Warp Gate and 3 more Gateways, I think this is going to be a slightly delayed 4 Gate with +1 coming out just for some pressure.
Yeah, it certainly could be that, and like you were saying, our Protoss players continuing to do pressure regardless of the fact that he lost his Zealots, and yeah, you'll probably be able to get some drone kills here. The Spine Crawler is nowhere near completion. There is a Queen though, and oh, actually, Energy Drone doesn't even force a cancel. He kills off the Spine Crawler before it can get completed, and already 2 drones going down. Now Sunshine is attacking these Stalkers as with his Queen and some Zealots. They will be able to deflect the Stalkers for now, but is Warp actually finished? Yes. No, almost finished. Warp Gate's almost finished. And if Energy Dime can hold on to both of these Stalkers would be really nice to be able to do some more aggression. But wow, a ton of Zerglings are out here for the Zerg player. And yeah, they're saying no to that aggression. You are not going to bother me this game.
He has to be careful, though. Currently, +1 ground weapons are on the way, and if there's one thing that's good at dealing with Zerglings, it's +1 Zealots.
Sure.
It's incredibly effective because they 2-shot rather than 3-shot those units. So right now we see all of these Zealots moving out. This might be a little bit too bold, though. Zealots are very good against Zerglings, but when there's a full surround like the one that we're seeing right here, there's just not too much they can do. It's so much damage coming in so fast, unless they almost survive, which they do, actually. Man, Zealots are strong.
Man, those Zealots... Wow, like you're saying, all 4 of them did go down, but 3 more are warped in, and all of a sudden, Sunshine is being forced to make more Zerglings. But now, at this point, he's actually making 5 Roaches to deal with the Zealots. Should be plenty to deal with this, and actually comes over here with these Zerglings to take out these Pylons, and that should go ahead and put an end to the aggression for now.
Yeah, and in the background of this, we did see the Twilight Council go down. Blink is currently being researched along with the +2 ground weapons, so kind of transitioning pretty well into a Blink attack is what Dime is currently doing, also snagging 2 sentries just for a little bit of defense. I do like that decision because, as we said in an earlier game, when you move out, do some harassment, and force your opponent to make units, suddenly they have units. Also, I love this little peace treaty which is going on right now between, like, the 300, and by that I mean 3 Zealots, and all of these Zerglings that didn't really want to commit while they were in that great position, but the siege artillery of all of these Roaches are going to come in, and the Zealots didn't fight the shame.
Oh, well. They died in the shadow. But, yeah, as we can see, Protoss player does have, what is that, 1? I believe he has about 7 gateways, so he's very much committed to this 2-base attack, and we're kind of just waiting for him to finish his upgrades. He's going to be getting the ground weapon 2 upgrade, and we'll probably try to go for the 3rd base of Sunshine. Now, at the same time, Sunshine does have a Spire being produced. It's almost finished, so the Mutalisks are going to be really nice in handling these ground troops, but there are a ton of Stalkers and Sentries, and that's actually exactly what counters Mutalisks for Protoss players. So we'll see if there's enough units to deal with all of this Zerg, or with all of this Protossness, or if Zerg is going to suffer greatly.
Yeah, unfortunately there were some hiccups in trying to get all of, or really get use out of that Spires. Right now there's just not that much gas currently available. There's only like 600, and when it finished, which was several seconds ago, there was even less than that. Ooh, nice quick force field, and they end up snagging off as this engagement starts. And so really, I'm not sure that these 6 Mutalisks are going to be particularly effective. Blink Stalkers with +2 attack are very good at dealing with Mutalisks, especially when the Mutalisks are in small numbers. And ultimately, when he's struggling to get 7 Mutalisks out, I feel like just going for Mass Roach would have been a better response.
Yeah, so we do see the Protoss player coming up here. There are 4 Spine Crawlers, some Roaches, a lot of Zerglings, and some Mutas, and the engagement is going to happen. Some really nice force fields there, managing to snipe off a few more units. 1 Spine Crawler does go down, and Energy Dime is really committed to this attack. Needs to get into a good position, waiting for those force fields to go ahead and clear up while he warps in even more units. A lot of Zealots this time to take the blunt of these attacks and help deal with the Zerglings. And we do see the engagement happening.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good engagement. A couple of force fields making sure that there's not any kind of full surround. Also very good blink play. However, most of the sentries have gone down. Only a single one left, and the Spine Crawler does take that out. I'm not quite sure why Dime has decided to engage right here. All of these spine crawlers have been incredibly useful, just for slowing down the push and buying Sunshine more and more time. Whereas the natural is basically completely exposed. However, one thing Sunshine does have going for him, though, is he's taken no economic damage throughout this whole attack.
Right.
And Dime is not at the opportunity to take a third. There's this, this Zergling hanging out right there.
Now we do see drones being forced to pull off the line to deal with these stalkers. Lots of mutas are still left up in the air. Just now losing one, probably going to be losing a few more here if he's not too careful with them. He really does not want to lose those mutas. They're so low on health, and they're really like the main thing keeping this army alive.
Yeah, there's 32 more Zerglings that are currently coming out, but the Warpins continue. Slowly but surely, Dime is wearing away at his opponent. He does need to try to get in and make something happen, though. Once again, no damage has been dealt to the economy. And if this force gets a good surround, a good engagement, I do think Sunshine can clean this up. This is actually a pretty good engagement already, but the Blinks are keeping him alive for the moment. I really want to see some focus down on the Mutalisk, and that's exactly what happens. As currently, it's just 4 Mutalisks left on the field.
No.
There's 18 Stalkers.
Wow, 26 more Zerglings are being morphed in here for our Zerg player, and that is it for his army. He is going to lose that third base here, and our Protoss player is holding strong. His economy is not really taking too much damage. Of course, he's only on 2 bases. Both these players are on 2 bases right now, but will these units be enough to deal with all of these Stalkers? I don't know. He might have to pull some drones, and that is what he's doing. Almost surround is happening here, but the Blink Stalker Micro is so good by our Protoss player. A lot of Mutalisks are up in the air, though. It looks like about 9, but Sunshine goes ahead and GG's out.
Yeah, very well set up and orchestrated attack right there, and we just saw Sunshine kind of crumple beneath it. As like, once again, I still feel like attacking the third base was perhaps a little bit like, that's a wall. I bet you I can go right through that with all the spine crawlers, but we did see Dime was able to pull it off. His Blink Stalker Micro just incredibly good, and the +2 Blink Stalker timing, exactly what he needed in order to win that game.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and just... Oh, what?
Yeah, it's the next game.
Yeah, go on to the next game.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were going to mention the product spotlight redo
Oh.
the other ones or something. But no, in fact, it's right now 1-1, so we're going to be going into game number 3. And in fact, it looks like we're all set to go. Okay. GSL Daybreak official, and you and I are both refs in the game. Energy Dime, Mr. Sunshine.
Indeed, Energy Dime versus Sunshine.
All right, on GSL Daybreak.
Yes, so whoever wins this game will be winning the winner's side of the bracket, and then of course he'll have to face whoever the winner from the loser's side of the bracket is, guaranteeing him a spot in the what is it, the Nationals?
Yeah, it is the SPGL
Nationals.
National Tournament, and that's going to be on August 18th for $1,000 in prizes. So these guys really want to win this game. Right now we see Sunshine is currently spawning the bottom left-hand corner as the yellow, yeah, that color.
Indeed, an Energy Dime spawning once again as the green Protoss player at the top right. This is on Daybreak. This is actually the first time that we've seen a Daybreak game today, at least that we've casted, and this is a really popular map. I like it a lot. Of course, I'm a Terran player, so I like it a little bit less than probably other races like it, as I'm not huge on my macro. I'm not quite up to par as I should be for this kind of map style, but I'm sure both these players will be really good at it, and I'd say that the Zerg player is probably pretty happy about it being Daybreak.
Yeah, and so pretty much we just need to see kind of what the approach is going to start out with being, as kind of taking a third base on this map as Protoss, it feels quite difficult because this space can be walled in with just a huge number of gateways and photon cannons, but it then makes it very hard to defend against any kind of roach attack because the roaches can just start picking away retreat, and so I do think if there is a map for 2-base timing attack, this is definitely it. That might be my perception being slightly skewed, though, by the fact that this is a Korean map, and MC has basically like carved a bloody path to glory based on his 2-base timing attacks. And
Yeah.
so I've seen him do some terrifying work here.
Yep, we'll see if Energy Dime kind of follows the footsteps of the great Min Chul, or if he just kind of goes for his own style of play. He is pretty good with his 2-base timing attacks, as we saw earlier in the tournament today. As far as what Sunshine's going to go for, though, he seems like he's a pretty strong macro player and does a good job of holding on. Of course, he didn't really hold on last game too well, as he did kind of get ran over. And yeah, I will check that as you just continue to cast.
Yeah, so right now we do see that Dime is once again going for the Forge First style. This is a bit more of a risky map to do it on, though, because once again, he doesn't have the ramp for protection, so he can't use Vision quite the same way. And also, it's just a much wider area. You can't just use 3 buildings and completely wall it off. You need a full, like, 3 buildings and a pylon, and then a Zealot or Probe hanging out in one of the little gaps. And so it can be a bit more precarious, once again, when, like, there's Zerglings on the field, and the Forge is like only halfway done. If these guys don't get run directly into his base, man, Sunshine is just wasting opportunities. He could definitely get him in.
Yeah, indeed. So, Energy Diamond is, like you're saying, trying to wall off as best as he can. It's a little bit stressful, I'm sure, but we do see these Zerglings chasing down the probe, not going for the main base of our Protoss play.
How dare the Master's player not do as I instructed. Now, he does end up getting the probe kill, which is very valuable. He knows that there won't be little proxy pylons created, at least by that guy. He knows that this base is also safe from any kind of cannon pressure or anything like that. Also using them to take both watchtowers, giving him a nice little bit of a center map vision that he'll really want to hang on to as much as possible.
Yes, sir, indeed. Now the Cybernetics core is being dropped down for Energy Dive, so not going to go for any kind of crazy 3-base opener. Instead, playing a lot more standard than I would probably play if I was Protoss. I'd probably do something ridiculous like get 1 gate, 3 bases, and then maybe a Cybernetic score. That's just how bad I'd be at Protoss.
Fair enough. We need to get you in contact with White Rod.
Yeah, I guess so.
Talk to you. You can tell him how to do special tactics. But yeah, and so right now the Queen's currently going and doing a little bit of work on the neutral supply depot. Just doesn't want that to be messing up with any of the construction he'll be doing later. Probably trying to get at least a little bit of SimCity going on there, just a hair so that he can control space a bit. Also keeping a good eye out on what his opponent's doing with this Overlord right now hanging out in the back of Dime's base. And he will really want to be getting another one into position to suicide into the main.
Yeah, so we shall see. And kind of just waiting for these players to decide what they're going to do. Don't see any gas up for our Zerg player. Instead, just going for that high mineral count with that 3rd base finally getting finished. The Queen over there, so he has a Queen on each base to get plenty of larvae injected. As for our Protoss player, he's just now getting his Robo facility, so we'll probably be able to get out an Observer to kind of see what's going on. Or maybe he'll possibly go for a Warp Prism. I don't know if that's really the best idea. Probably most likely just there for scouting.
Well, we can already see, too, some interesting kind of scouting and pressure going on right now from Dime. He didn't end up getting the Zealot this game. He's putting on pressure with just Stalkers, but he's already, once again, forced the exact reaction that he wanted. We currently see 9 Zerglings on the field, and that's after there's already been a kill. So these guys are getting some damage in, and all of these Zerglings, in fact, forced out of position just to try to deal with that single probe that he does not want trying to plant down any more proxy pylons. In fact, this might lead to a Queen snipe.
Oh yeah, we do see Energy Dime coming over here with 2 Stalkers, and is trying to get that Queen down as best as he can. Actually microing it really effectively. The drones being an excellent defense barrier for the Queen. And will he be able to hold on to the Queen? Zerglings do come over here to surround. The Queen is pulled back with 3 HP. Will it get sniped? It does get sniped. So the Stalkers proving to be pretty effective there, and Energy Dime, or I'm sorry, Sunshine is going to be forced to make another Queen at that 3rd hatchery.
Yeah, and he didn't, in fact, have a spare, which I think is kind of an interesting decision. Creep Spread is just so useful, and Queens are such a generally good unit with their current 5 range, that making tons and tons of Queens is basically the standard metagame at this point. Like 4 definitely, and even up to 6. But instead, we saw Sunshine just sticking with the 3 that he was kind of comfortable with originally. And unfortunately, he's paying a small price for that right now, because he can't just transfer the one that was doing creep tumors immediately over to this base and keep his macro going.
Alright, so we just see Energy Drive dropping down 3 more gateways. That's going to bring him up to 7 gateways. Just like the game before, it is very much looking like a 2-base Minchul timing attack that's going to be happening here. Now, will Sunshine be able to hold on this time? That is what I want to know. I feel like perhaps not going for Mutalisk this time, instead of maybe maybe focusing on a lot of roaches, or as you can see, an infestation pit is going to be the better idea. Will he have enough in time, though? That is the question.
I think the infestation pit is definitely the right answer in this situation because there's already 3 immortals on the field with a warp prism currently being constructed, and I'm pretty darn sure that as soon as that robotics facility is done with the warp prism, he's going to keep on with the immortal production, or
Yeah.
potentially use all of the money to do mass warp-ins. There's already a ton of anti-armor on the field, and he's going to be putting on some two-prong aggression. We saw this to be quite effective in an earlier game as he pulled the opponent out of position, got a successful third base snipe. Looks like this is exactly what he's trying to do. However, there are a bunch of spine crawlers going up right now. That is some defense, but once again, immortals are just so staggeringly powerful against anything armored. That includes building.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see what happens here. We do see that Warp Prism actually going alongside the main army, kind of confused as to why he's doing that. Or not really confused. I guess he just wants to be able to warp in some units instead of having to worry about pylons being up. And yeah, more stalkers being warped in here. And our Zerg player is quite ready for this. Are there any infestors out on the map? I'm looking at the unit tab, and I do not see any infestors. Instead, there's just roaches and zerglings for now, and 3 infestors are being produced.
Yeah, and right now I do like that
Wow,
Diamond's just
yeah.
completely bypassing all of those spine crawlers at that other base. He'd much rather deal with 2 than 5, and is getting a pretty darn good engagement using the force field to try to separate as much of the army as possible. And these immortals just going to work. They've barely even been touched. A couple of losses have happened, particularly on the high value sentries, which is a bit unfortunate, but I do think it's gotten him kind of the opportunity he needs. He needs to keep attacking, though. Slight pause right there. He can't quite afford, as 46 Zerglings are currently on the field, and the fungals are starting to land.
There we go, some really nice fungals there from our Zerg player, but will they be in time enough? I don't know. Energy Dime has really found a great timing attack regardless of the composition of Sunshine. There are still 3 infestors, none of them have enough energy, and Sunshine being forced to pull some probes, or drones rather, and there is the GG.